it should work. Oh, hey Claudine. Goedemorgen. We're early. I'm a little bit early. I have to do it in English, sorry, because people are gonna listen back. I was early because I needed to do a setup. And I need my lights and everything, so I thought I would do my setup while I have the camera on. So I'll have to edit these minutes out later. So let's see how the lights are. Hi, Mikey. Good morning. Good night for you. New Jersey. Welcome. Sleepless in New Jersey. Okay. You overslept. Are you? Oh, good, Claudine. Sometimes you need to oversleep. Sometimes it's just the best way to start the day. Well, I don't know. Can you hear a weird zooming noise right now? Like a machine kind of noise, because in the field next to our home, they're going to harvest the corn today. So it's going to be noisy. And when I don't know if it's called a combine in English, but when the machine comes close, it's really, really noisy. So I'm done setting up, and I'm going to wait for another few minutes until everybody's here, or everybody, until it's 9 o'clock, which is the time I promised to be here. So, can you hear the noise come closer? I hope it's not gonna, sometimes the microphone of my phone camera picks up the weirdest noises that I don't even hear myself. And it sort of begins to feature them. You can't hear anything in the background right now? Okay, good. Good. That's very good news, because I hear a lot of noise right now. But I think it's got to do something with the frequency. Some noises, they get picked up, like, you know, when somebody crunches a little piece of foil in the kitchen? You can hear it, Claudine. Okay. Okay, I hope it's going to be okay. There's nothing I can do to stop it. You know, these guys, they rent this company to harvest for them. So, well, can't go out there and say, don't harvest. Well, and it was about time. It's almost half October now. So he had to take everything off the land. And the land has been sold. So I don't know what's gonna be here next year. So I had a hard time waking up this morning. How about you? Well, Claudine, we know you've overslept. And Mikey, you're not in bed yet. Do you have work shifts that make you stay up late, perhaps? So I something prepared. I drew this creature yesterday, and I made him a little bit spooky, and I applied some of the Molotov masking fluid to protect some of the tender parts of this creature. So got some cotton swabs prepared for dabbing dry those parts later on. And I shouldn't forget to use them, because I sometimes do forget, and then I ruin the entire painting. You're on steroids for your autoimmune disease. Makes it very hard to sleep. Oh my God, yeah, I can imagine. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, such medicine can really kick your biorhythm, right? A blue-legged creature. No. Everything you see here that's blue is going to be a different color. It's the masking fluid. So you know, sometimes when I was painting this creature, I accidentally had some areas that that I spilled some of the green, of the perylene green paint into, and I wanted to prevent that from happening this time. So yesterday I used the masking fluid here, but I used way too much, so it remained a bit sticky and a bit, what's it called? Fluid. And now I applied a thinner layer, but it's still sticky. So to be honest, I think I'm using masking fluid that's gone off. I'm afraid. You know what I can do? And oh, it's 9, by the way, so I can start. Nobody's in anymore. Everyone left. Really? Why is everyone left? Well, I'm just going to start by applying a layer of water. So when I look at the top of the chat, it just said that there were that there was no one here anymore. I can see there are 2 people here now. Were you guys kicked out? Because I'm not really that experienced with the live chats at this point. So just the first layer of water. That's how I start all of my watercolors. Hello, Catherine. Good morning. How nice to see you again. Or good night for you. I'm just doing the most boring part of the painting right now. Just applying a little bit of water. And I have to let that dry because there is masking fluid everywhere. So I have to take a little bit of time to let most of it dry, not completely, but enough to stop the colors I'm going to apply from flowing into areas I don't want it to go into. So yeah, what I can do in the meantime is think about the colors I want to use in my painting, and I haven't thought about that yet. So this is I'm gonna think live. Don't know if that's going to be the most exciting live streaming to watch if you watch someone think, but what I want to do is I want to make a background that consists of more colors, of color layers, if you want. And I want to have a very thick darkness here. And I want to have sort of a path here below, so that it looks almost as if this creature is walking on a path or something. Or maybe in the woods or something, but it needs to be a little bit lighter on the floor because that's where moonlight would be. So that's something I have in mind. So I'm going to mix another color again, and I really liked the, yeah. Well, that's really fun to do when you want to make something creepy of the background, is by making a frame and making the creature, you know, if you have a background here and you make the creature come into your, well, your own world, so to speak. So that's what I wanted to try to do again, because I like that. I imagine that if I would do a children's book, and if I would make it like about creepy creatures, I would try to always make it not just creepy by coming up with, you know, a creature that looks creepy, but also about, you know, making it come into your world, like inserting little spots where you let the creature speak directly to your reader, for instance, like yeah, I don't know, little things they can say to the reading person, and can be funny creepy things, of course. So yeah, good. I wanted to use my creamer indigo again and the perylene green. But today I also want to add a little bit of black. Just have to figure out which black. If I use Mars black, I'm going to have granulation, and I'm not sure I want granulation in around the creature, because using granulation is really nice, but it's going to attract a lot of attention, and when you have an illustrated creature, you might not want to have that kind of attention drawn to the surroundings. On the other hand, if I would make this shrubs, then it could be really nice to have the granulation. But, well, anyway. So it's going to be perylene green again with indigo. This is creamer indigo, so, and they call it real indigo. I don't know what they mean by that, but it suggests that they have the recipe for authentic indigo paint, which wouldn't surprise me because Creamer is a fantastic paint or pigment company. I have a dangerous mix here right now because I mixed the colors, but it's quite thick. And that can be dangerous because when you use watercolors really thick, sometimes you get these blooms everywhere. And sometimes they are welcome, but sometimes they're not welcome. Sometimes you just don't want such blooms anywhere. I'm also going to mix some perylene green in with an olive green. That's going to be in my painting later on because I'm still going to be using the Angle Shades Butterfly as, you know, my inspiration, as a reference, so to speak, color-wise. So I'm going to also have in some green for the background, and I also want to have some ochre kind of shade for on the floor. So it's going to be 3 colors in the background today. And I'm just going to let them run into each other. So, yeah. I'm going to go for the Monte Amiata. And I'm going to just, I don't know if you can see this, but this well of my watercolor pen is not clean. And I do that on purpose because I was looking for a color that was a little bit darker than the Monte Amiata. So here it is. I don't wash my palette very often, so. Okay, let's try this one out. Okay, that's perfect. And this one. It could be a tad darker, but for now it's okay. You want to do a flat wash? Well, no. I wouldn't call it a flat wash. I am going to try, this time I'm going to try and create some blooms. I want to make somewhat of a lively background by making mistakes on purpose, basically. Lunar black is great, but on the other hand, it does, when you use it in areas, it can attract a lot of attention. So it's something you have to think about before you paint. Like, do you want the oh, my camera is be a focus on the page. It can be really great using lunar black because it just really quickly adds to your image. But on the other hand, it can also be very dominant. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go in with this brush. I told you before in previous lives that this brush is not the best for precision work. So keep your fingers crossed for me, please. And I need to, you're probably gonna see the back of my head because I want this to be, I slightly want to adjust my lights as well. so that the reflection is not too annoying. This is not the best brush to be doing this with, for sure. Okay. So I'm going to be using quite a lot of paint, which is why I use masking tape. Can you hear the noise now? Because these machines are getting closer. For anyone who's just tuned in, they are harvesting corn on the field next to our house. So that can make a lot of noise. I really, really, really do not like the Molotov masking fluid because I can already see the masking fluid is absorbing some of the watercolor, and I have no idea whether it's going to dry on there or that it's going to stay fluid in droplets. And then if it does, the problem I'm going to be having is that when you start rubbing off the masking fluid, you can rub some smears over your work. This is the last time I've used it, so I'm going to throw it away because it's either it's gone off, because I have to say it's rather old, and I'm not sure if it has you know, an expiration date, but I'm not happy with this stuff. I'm not happy with any masking fluid, to be very honest with you, but this stuff is a pain in the butt. So as you can see, I'm not really making a flat wash. I'm also applying a lot of paint here and there so that I can let it, you know, I want it to bloom this time. So here is a little puddle of paint, and there is a little puddle of paint. It's so noisy. For me, it's very noisy. I hope you're not hearing what I hear. I hope my camera doesn't pick up all that noise. Because sometimes when someone in the kitchen opens something, a foil package, sometimes the camera picks it up as if it's happening right under the camera. It's crazy. So I'm just gonna let the paint do its work and the blending. I'm just laying it down. And when you're painting backgrounds, it's really nice to use the wet in wet technique, because that makes everything blurry and out of focus as it would on a photo. So this is why you use the masking fluid, right? To be able to paint and keep areas wet as you go. I need a little more paint, so, and I need to work fast now, so I'm not even adding any olive green to the perylene green here. So now I have two different colors of green, which is okay, because you would normally, in any background, you would have I think the perylene green dried a little too much. Well, I'm gonna fix that in a minute, because you can see a hard line here, which is what I don't want. So, but no problem. We can fix it later. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to try to reactivate all the perylene green here. And that's not going to be, so it's not going to work out completely. So what I do then is I go back in with more perylene green. I want to make it darker. I'm just going to see what's going to happen. So here it's nice and wet still in this area. So I want to make it darker. So I'm going to go up with more perylene green. And I'm going to make this darker than I intended it to be. I hardly ever really plan how I want my illustrations to work. Sometimes I do. When I work for commissions, you have to. I mean, you make a sketch and then you talk to your commissioner and you say, is this what you have in mind? So this area is going to be pretty light. I don't want that. I'm looking for a dramatic darkness here. So I'm going to go back into this corner because the rest of the paper is nice and wet, so it's not going to be a problem. And I'm going to add just a little perylene green here to darken things up even more. Okay. And then I'm going to use, just going to rub the brush off and then put the tip of my brush here and suck up some excess paint. Just a tiny bit, not everything, because for me, it's okay if there is a dark edge here. The reason I'm doing it is that if this paper curls up anymore, this excess paint is going to spill onto the next page, which I don't want to happen in a book. So you can see there is a puddle of paint here, and I'm going to let it be. Just going to see what happens. So now I have to fill in this. I can do two things. I can either say, no, I'm going to just, let this be the frame and then erase this pencil line that's here beneath the tape, or I can fill it in. I'm going to fill it in, but I'm going to need some new creamer indigo to do so. And I was mixing that with perylene green, so okay. Oh, now you can see I don't know if you guys can, yeah, you guys can see it very well. Here, you can see this area is now getting much lighter. And I don't want that. I'm going for full darkness, and I'm going to do it all in the first layer. As long as it's not fully dry, I call it a first layer. So maybe technically, professionally, people would call this a second layer, but to me, this is a first layer. As long as I can still blend things together, to me, it's a first layer. So this too, still first layer. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it around to make it easier for me to work on. Holding my breath to you. Okay. Good. I'm really glad because mechanical sounds can be very annoying to listen to when you're trying to focus on a video. Oh, what's that? No, okay. So there is more perylene green in this mixture than I intended to be there, but okay. Now, nice and round face. And I duplicated the shape of the moth's eyes. That's really round. So, okay. And And then I'm going in with the perlin green. Nice and dark. I can't wait to peel off this this tape. You know, that's the only disadvantage of using masking fluid, is that you'll only use it when you're working wet in wet. And that means that you'll have to wait until it's dry before you can go on. So I'm going to darken the first layer, the so-called first layer of the ground a little bit. So just adding a little bit more ochre. Oh, look at this. The masking fluid is completely absorbing the watercolor. Oh God. We might just have blue and red smears. I really hope that's not going to happen, because I didn't copy this little creature. I can copy it anyway. I can copy it later, but I really hope the color is going to come off. To make sure, to try and you know, diminish the risk, I'm gonna try and clean the masking fluid just a little bit. Oh, and I think I shouldn't, because I can already see when I do that. The water from my brush ran off the masking fluid into the paint, and that's something I do not want at this point, because it'll cause light blooms, and I want the immediate surroundings of the creature, so the immediate lines around the creatures, to be as dark as possible. So this is a lot of water. This is what, when I started out and when I started showing my work on YouTube, classic watercolorists were notifying me that I was doing it all wrong. Yeah, I know. Technically, if you learn about watercolor, this is the thing you shouldn't do. You shouldn't, you know, just put down puddles of concentrated paint, because that's not gonna look the way watercolor classically is supposed to look. But I don't want it to look that way. I want it to look a different way. So good morning, Christine. Hello and welcome. Misty Lagoon by K.H. Hannah. Yeah, it really is a beautiful color. Yeah. The only thing I'm not sure about the paint that you bought is that this indigo is not a light. If this is genuine indigo, it's definitely not light fast. So I hope for you that the color you bought is a mixture of PB60, black, and perlin green, because that'll be a light fast mixture. This isn't, and I am only using this color in my sketchbook, because I would never do a commission or anything for a customer with this color, as much as I like it, because it's one of my favorite colors. But you know, talking about handmade paints, I've been seeing, oh, the combine is getting really close now. The noise is getting louder for me, so well, I hope you guys can keep hearing me. But talking about handmade color paints, are there any manufacturers of handmade paints that you can recommend? What I'm looking for is quality, but also a price that's realistic. Like a little while ago, I found someone, and I just wanted to try, you know, a couple of colors, say 6 or so. And she asked $55 for 6 pans. And I thought it was going to be half pans. But then I looked again and I saw that's what she asked for, quarter pans. $55. So each quarter pan was about $9 something, and then a whole lot of shipment. So I decided I wasn't going to do it, because the half pans were $99. So that was a problem. Schminky masking fluid. Okay. Okay, that's the only brand I don't think I've ever tried. I've got Winsor & Newton and Thailand, and now the, I don't know if Daniel Smith has any, but now I have the Molotov, and I'll get it. Hold on. I have to get up for a minute, for a sec. This is Molotov masking refill, and it's a refill, so I poured some on a plate and then applied it with a brush. So I did a lighter work because yesterday I used a thick layer of it, and what happened is that it didn't dry properly, so it stayed very sticky. And it's just not good, but I have to be honest with you guys and say that this might, it might just be old. There's also some discoloration in there. So maybe because I didn't use this for years, maybe 3-4 years, so maybe it's about 5-6 years old. I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't know that much about masking fluid because I have a love-hate relationship with it, because partly it's wonderful to keep my details clean, and but the other side of it is they have a very, they're very it's like an angel devil kind of thing. So what they do for you, they can also do against you. First place, they ruin the brushes that you use. So sometimes I try to apply it with the toothpick or with, I don't know what it's called. I'm going to grab it so you can see it. It's something you can use to smudge smear. It's more of like a modeling tool, acrylic paints. So this is a rubber thing, like a rubber brush. I don't know what it's called. So I've tried applying it with this too. And this was the thing it would be best removable from later on. But what was really hard is that when I applied it with this, the fluid wouldn't run off quick enough to stay fluid. It would get sticky and there would be threads and everything. So I haven't really found my mojo with masking fluid yet. A little while ago, I saw there is masking fluid that has sort of like a needle applicator. I might give that a try, but knowing the masking fluids I know, I think it's going to get clogged really. I think it's going to get clogged after the first squeeze, but Beam, plastic-free, natural handmade experience, Beam paints. Based in Canada. Yeah, shipping has gone overboard. It's why I stopped online teaching December 2000, having an online shop, sell my, but then the shipment just totally went overboard. So I never, well, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. Was like, how can I sell something for, an acceptable price to anyone overseas? And there are so many people from across the Atlantic that know my work. So, for an original, I could say, okay, well, people will want to buy an original because they might want to have something from you. But just to, a print. So I might outsource it, but I need to think that about that for a bit. Okay, so Beam paint. I'm gonna look that up. Beam Paints Canada. A color shaper. Yeah, a color shaper. I think it comes from the acrylic world, doesn't it? For texture things, maybe. I use it to smudge pastels with, or graphite sometimes. If it's really precise and if I can't use my finger, I just go over it lightly with this. It kind of works. Kinda, not perfectly, but okay. Still not fully dry, so I'm checking to see which areas. Well, there is no area I can paint at this moment. I am pleased with my with the background, by the way. The only thing I am deliberating now is that perhaps there should be some shading. I think there should be some shading. Yeah, so just a hint of it. Shouldn't have done that. I have this obsession with getting soft edges, but it doesn't always work. Well, this can be the shade. I hope. Oh, this is sticky tape. Uh-oh. Gonna have to do this really. Ow! No, okay. Nothing wrong. Nothing happened. I have this box of washi tapes because I used to buy specialty tape for it, but the specialty tape, due to COVID, went up in price about 50%, so 150%. So now I bought this washi tape mix by, I don't know, I don't even know what brand. It was a very cheap store. And the thing is, the one washi tape is not the same as the next. So some washi tapes don't stick at all. And other washi tapes are so sticky that they tear apart your paper. Oh, this behaved pretty well. Okay. I'm good. I so want to use my heat gun right now. But I won't. I can't. Because if I use it right now, I don't know what, do you guys know what heat will do to masking fluid? Will it burn, or will it melt, or get fluid again, or maybe sink into? I'm afraid what it can do is that the heat might set it to the paper. So that's what I want to avoid. So maybe there's a little something I can do in the meantime to make it a little more interesting for you guys. Is I'm gonna have a very damp brush, not wet, just damp, and take off some of that paint that's on it now. The reason I'm doing that is because when you start rubbing off the paint, because your hands can be a little bit greasy or a little bit damp or sweaty, whatever, you can rub the paint back into your painting. And in this case, with this background, it wouldn't be too much of a problem, but it would definitely take away the precision. So want to scoop that up. Here is some too, but there is no sense in doing it over here because here is a little puddle of paint. You guys can see that. I can see. Yeah. So it makes no sense doing it here because the moment I touch this area of the masking fluid with my brush, this paint will flow in there immediately again. So that won't work. Another thing I can do, because another setback of this wonderful brush that I like for very many applications is that in such precision work, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there are very small droplets of paint of the background color. So I can leave them there. I can leave them in and say, those are just, if you would observe an insect in the wild, you would definitely also see these specks of color in there. Can be anything really. Can be mud, or like a birthmark. Insects have birthmarks as well. I found out. Sorry. So are there any other suggestions maybe for buying handmade paint from a very small manufacturer? Because I want to try something, but I want to, if I pay the money for it, I want to have good paint. Sometimes I get offered paint to review or to try, but I don't really, I feel obligated then to say that it's really good, and I'd rather do an independent review. So sorry, my voice is still a bit off. So I'm gonna go around the edges here. Normally when I use the Talons or the Winsor & Newton, and when I have these little droplets of paint on them, on there, then I will have a cotton swab, and I will simply dab it on so it sucks up the droplets of paint. But with this paint, there are no droplets, so all I can do is use a damp brush to get rid of it, basically. So I keep turning it around to make it nice, and I very much admire painters I see demoing on YouTube, and they never turn around their paintings. I'm like, what? How do you do that? I mean, the first reason for turning around your painting would be because you're right or left-handed. So painting one side of your painting, one edge, is always going to be easier than painting the other edge. So I'm going to try and do this so you can still see it, and I don't want to smudge my painting. But over here, the paint has covered very much, and I don't want to take any chances of me smudging it later on. So I'm going to try and remove it. Oh, it's so dark, I can't even see. I lay down the paint so dark, it's very hard to see where it went, to see the drawing beneath here. Oops. Okay. I never expected to have to do this, so this would be a reason to choose a different brand of masking fluid, because this is taking a lot of time. You know, if you're making a big picture or you know, botanical thing, or you know, you work with bigger shapes, then it might not be such a problem. But I'm painting a fantasy creature, so you want the details to show, because when you lose the definition, you lose a character. So that part's pretty clean now. And I just need to do this area. Is it still focusing on the paper well enough? You're working upside right down now too. Good. You made watercolor paint yourself. Really, Claudine? I didn't know that. Wow. Oh, I've always been thinking about doing that, but the thing is that I'm afraid it'll get out of hand if I start. Oh, that must be so amazing to make your own paints. I do actually have a collection of pigments. I once bought it from someone who stopped paint making. But I never ever really got around to making the paints. I'm trying to guess where the edge is. And I'm not sure. Oh my. And you have to be so careful because there are so many wet areas still that I can easily. So this is concentration work. It got out ahead, of course. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, God. I think I would start with PG50, but also maybe the PV19. Although part of me thinks like, you know, these bigger manufacturers, they're doing specialist kind of work. So would it really add something? Could I make paint that's just as good or different in a better kind of way? So I decided to just, you know, wait a little while. I'm gonna, am I gonna take a chance or not? If I put the heat gun onto this, what will happen? I don't know. Are we good? I can give it a chance from, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna make a bit of noise and I'm just gonna keep a little bit of a distance. Okay, now I'm gonna let this cool down really well before I do anything else. Because I have no idea what effect this has on the masking fluid. So you might be witnessing a little disaster here, which is also okay, you know, sometimes it happens. And that's the things you learn from. And sometimes those disasters turn out to be happy accidents, and then, you know, you might just have discovered the best new mixed media technique ever. It happens, you know. So I'm removing just a tad more paint. Now I can remove this because I, with the dryer, I took away some of the moist. So, okay. Now I'm going to have to leave it alone and let it dry for a bit. Let's go back to the colors. I am going to use these same colors again. And I'm also going to, there's not going to be as much of that warm yellow earth tone in here because all I have to use it on is the face and the hand, and maybe the legs. So basically this is the butterfly's wings. Then this creature has them on and it's sort of like grabbing the wing as if it's a coat and it's looking behind its shoulder. So the antenna, I'm gonna make the exact same color as here because I like it, and also it's a beautiful contrast to the dark blue here, and it's gonna show up lovely and warm on the white here. So yeah, let's see. Are there any areas I can, no. So tricky. Always, when you use masking fluid, always feel with your fingers, with your sensitive fingers, whether there's any moist left in the paper. As long as your paper is not fully dry, do not tear off the masking fluid. Because some brands go better than others, and some paper goes better than others, but it's a very tricky thing. You know, you can save time by using masking fluid because you can very quickly paint over areas, and then you know, you can have beautifully fine lines and details. But At the same time, it can take a lot of time, you know, before you can go on. So I hadn't quite expected this, but the Molotov is retaining quite a bit of fluid. So, yeah. I'll just have to, oh, I see another little area that needs a little bit of cleaning before I take off the fluid. It really has permeated the fluid, the paint. So, uh-oh, what's going to happen? I don't know. We're going to have to see. Okay. It adds personality, your own kind of thing. That's something special too. Yeah, definitely. Oh God, don't make me want to do this, Claudine. Don't make me want to try and make my own paints. Oh, it's gonna be so bad. Gonna have a little sip of my tea. I think the field's been harvested because it's quiet now. It's only a very small field, especially compared to, you know, the fields that I saw in documentaries about the United States. They're so big. We have nothing like that here. Okay, so how am I going to go about it? Because I noticed one thing. I applied the Molotov again, even though I didn't like it yesterday because it was sticky. And I thought it was sticky because I put it on really thick, straight from this, well, tube thing. So it came on like, you know, a thick layer of it. Now I have a thin layer because I applied it with a brush. And unfortunately, I noticed that it's still incredibly sticky and it still feels as if it's not fully dried. So I have quite, this is going to be maybe even harder because it's just a thin layer. Oh my God. You would say take an eraser pencil or anything. But I've also had problems using those in the past because sometimes the eraser pencils, you know, they erase the lines underneath, which is what I don't want because I need my lines. Oh God, oh, I'm never going to use this again. It's smudging and smearing. This is frustrating, guys. So, okay, let's just erase those lines as long as this stuff is off the paper. It's not going to be too hard for me to draw it again. And when I do draw it again, I will do that with, where is my 2H pencil? I will use my 2H pencil for that. So I'm just going to redraw it immediately, but so this is Exit Molotov. Absolutely. This, I'm never going to use it again. This is not good. And the lines aren't very, very sharp either. So no. No, that's not fully dried. I can't do that area yet. But what I am going to do is I'm going to start painting this antenna because that's something I can do. So I'm going to use the Monte Amiata again, which is a very nice and warm transparent ochre color that I like very much for that. I could use PY 150, the nickel azo yellow, but that would be too much in your face. So I'm not going to do that. Now I have to still be careful because here is a wet area and here is a very tiny area. It's still wet. So I'm going to have to paint this. And this feels wet, but it's just sticky because there is masking fluid on there. I have to be so careful right now. Okay, I'm turning my page as well. It's very easy to get so focused on painting this with precision that I forget the other wet areas, and it happens to me all the time. It's very difficult to stay focused. So here's where the white paper of my world gets connected to the world of this creature. I find that an interesting concept. There is something else I have to say about the Molotov. The paper changes. It makes the paper a bit gooey, sticky. I can see the paint responding to it in a way I don't like. Could have been the heat, but no. Not going to be using it again. So I'm going to go immediately back in with another little layer just on the bottom. So that's going to be shading. So I'm doing this in one layer. And okay. This part looks as if there is still some masking fluid on there. Ugh. No, this is not good stuff. Not for my kind of work, it isn't. You drifted on off for a moment, huh? Aloha Paints, Stawiki, and Sealer Paints. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. So, Aloha Paints. Wiki for shimmer, and Sela. Okay, gonna look into that. Shimmer is the bomb right now. I bought a huge collection of shimmer from my birthday money. So, and I have used it, and I like it way more than I thought I would. Okay, so now this area feels dry enough. And I'm not going to be using my eraser pencil to help me take this stuff off because I don't want to erase the lines of the hands because hands are really difficult to draw. But the thing is, I can already feel that I need to rub so hard that, oh my God, I am smudging both my pencil, but also, look, this. Oh, this is seriously bad, guys. No, this is not what it should do. I think I need to throw this away. Yep, it's in the bin. I'm not going to use this again. Oh my God. It makes, I don't know if you guys can see it. No, you can't. I don't think you can. It makes it super dirty. I'm going to try and zoom in. So don't get seasick now because it's really dirty. And the thing is, it's in the paper somewhat. It's not just on top of it. It's not like a little film that I can remove. I go back to painting a little bit more of an overview. So yeah. So that's quite annoying. And I can't help but going back in with a pencil, with an eraser pencil, to see what I can remove. Oh. And the thing is, hands are really hard to draw. I don't want to lose my details because I don't know if I can reproduce again. Yeah, of course I can reproduce again, but oh, I've never had to do this before. This is the first time that that it's such a pain in the ass. Oh, can I say that on YouTube Live? YouTube wants me to say before I go live whether there's gonna be bad talk in a video, and then I'm like, oh god, I really have to be careful with what I say. I'm hearing people saying now, oh, I'm gonna watch your live again, and I'm like, oh no, don't. It's just like seeing yourself on video. It feels uncomfortable. Then it's like, oh my god, what have I said? I hope I didn't say anything stupid. Okay. It's still not off there, guys. It's still here. And if I'm going to paint over it just like that, it's going to look horrible. But I have no choice but to leave it this way. Okay, so this area is dry enough now to start rubbing it off. Wish me luck. And I also notice now that it's absolutely dry. There are still areas of the masking fluid that are covered with paint. Oh my god, it's not going to come off. So it wasn't yesterday. The problem wasn't that it was on too thick. Look, the pencil lines are disappearing as well. The problem is this stuff. Let's just assume that maybe it's old and that it's gone off. Because I've heard and I've read lovely things about it. But I need to draw back in my graphite lines because they need to show through the paint. Okay. Okay, so, oh my god. Oh, this is insane. This sticks as bad as, sticker glue does when when kids glue stickers onto wooden cabinets, etc. That's what it feels like. Is that hard? It's not really damaging the paper though, so in that sense it's doing its work, but oh no, I need my new stuff. So I have a good excuse to order something again. And I have to order my first totally empty tube, which is PV19 from Rembrandt. I'm so proud of my finishing a tube. What I do like about the Molotov is that it didn't smudge any paint that was still on there onto my paper, so that's a good thing. So it's not all bad, but this is just not what you want to do. You don't want to spend so much time removing this stuff, and no. Okay. Oh, we're back in their harvesting game. Okay. So now I have this sticky stuff all over my hands, and okay, let's try this. Yeah, that's dry enough as well. So I'm going to rub outward, and I'm going to check my hands very well to see if they're dry enough and not greasy or smudgy. Yes, yes. I put little segments in the antenna. Pen holder. Oh yeah, that was the one. Oh yeah, pen holder. I saw that name before. I think I even have him on my Etsy as a shop I follow, I think, but I couldn't remember his name. Thank you, Mikey. Hey, Pigeon hiding. Yes, spooky creature. This is the Halloween month. No, I didn't do it for Halloween, but I just, you know, I'm not really into cute bears and kitties and stuff. I like to paint things that look as cutie as they do spooky. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back in and draw the little segments in again. Or I don't have to, but I want to. Oh. There's some more of that stuff there. No. Okay. Someone said to me yesterday, oh, your videos take a really long time. And I said, yeah, well, finishing the painting took even longer. People are like, something people find hard to imagine, that it can take such a long time to finish a painting. But yeah, it actually really takes hours to finish an illustration like this. It really does. I sometimes do try techniques that are a lot faster, and I can do them, but they just don't really feel like me. And looking back at my favorite styles and techniques, I've always been crazy about, detailed techniques that take up a lot of time. I think I like the challenge, but also the quietude of just sitting there working and slowly building up on something and slowly getting a feel for, the character that I'm painting. Because, they appear, and when they do, I don't know them. I have no idea, what their character is. So painting them is also forming an idea of who this creature is and of its nature. And by taking the time to do it, I think you sort of get a feel for it. Okay, so that's good. I have lost some definition here. Oh, here is a little something still on. No. I've certainly lost some definition there. That's weird. It's never happened to me either. No. Okay. So now the hand. I'm leaving this area for just a little while longer because there is still a very tiny wet spot. And if I start painting this, you will see that I will undoubtedly ruin the area. Okay, so I'm going to go in painting with a very small brush. I know watercolor is generally applied with bigger brushes, but I prefer to work with really small brush with synthetic, so maximum control. This is as much control as you're going to get, So if you find watercolors a very challenging medium, don't use like Kalinsky Sable, because it can contain so much water, and they are so flexible and soft, that they generally have a tendency to make the watercolor paint do as it likes.